Thursday, July 3rd edition of the Carolina Weather Video. Meteorologist Matthew East here with you. Most of this video will focus on Arthur, but before we get into that, I wanted to show you the high temperatures yesterday all around the region. 98 degrees the high in Columbia. Burlington hit 98 as well. 95 in Greensboro and Charlotte. 97 in Raleigh. Just a hot Wednesday, and it's very warm on this early Thursday morning. Temperatures well up into the 70s. It's even 82 right now in Wilmington and in Cape Hatteras. Very warm, soupy, tropical air in place. There's your dew point temperatures. 70s for most of our dew points. That is about as muggy as it gets across the Piedmont of North Carolina. You have mid-70s for dew points over in eastern North Carolina. All right, of course, Arthur, now a Category 1 hurricane as I'm cutting this video, getting closer and closer to the coast. You also have a cold front punching into the western Carolinas. Those two features combining to bring us what will be a pretty unsettled day and then some great weather for the holiday weekend once we get past Arthur. Now, over the past few hours, again, at the time I'm cutting this video, which is about 5:30, there have been some showers there over parts of North Carolina, and at any point in time, today or this evening, across the Piedmont, we're fair game to pick up some showers or some storms. Now, that is what Arthur looks like from the Charleston radar site. It's not that far away from the South Carolina coast, and we've now seen that motion go just a little bit east of due north. So Arthur now moving something like that, and that curve is going to continue here as we move forward in time today. There's a longer loop, and you can see the overall presentation of Arthur on the radar imagery continues to improve. It's still been battling that dry air, but for a little while longer, the upper level winds will stay fairly favorable for development. Now, a lot of times when these systems begin to bend east of due north, it's tough to get any overly significant intensification, but I think the setup here for Arthur will favor some further strengthening as we go through the day. So let's get right into your tropical update. First of all, things are very quiet this morning, very warm along the Outer Banks. So the calm before the storm there from the Avalon Pier web camera. The temperature there in Kill Devil Hills is 79 degrees. And today, for a lot of the day, will be just fine. But then the weather rapidly goes downhill for the Outer Banks tonight. All right, so there's the advisory information. This is the 5 a.m. advisory. The pressure down to 985 millibars. The winds now just over hurricane threshold at 75 miles per hour. Located at 31.3 north and 79.1 west. That is 340 miles southwest of Cape Hatteras. Over the last 12 hours, we've seen some improvement in the satellite presentation of Arthur. And again, there is a window of opportunity today for some further strengthening before the shear really increases ahead in time. Now, this is what the Hurricane Center forecast shows. They bring the center of Arthur very close to the Outer Banks, if not over the Outer Banks, tonight. And then out to sea it goes from there. So the watch and warning situation, it's a hurricane warning for those purple shaded areas. That is a good chunk of the Carolina coast, basically all of the Outer Banks. And you have southern North Carolina's coast included in a hurricane watch. And if that track were to wobble a little bit further to the west, that would have to be upgraded to a hurricane warning. As it stands, it's a tropical storm warning for places like Myrtle Beach and Wrightsville Beach. Now, this is what the RPM model is showing you. And I'll tell you, it is a little bit of a further west solution on the last couple of model cycles here, but this will give you an idea at least of the timing. This is this afternoon at 1 o'clock, and these purple shades you see here, that's when you're really getting the winds picking up, sustained upwards of tropical storm force with some gusts over hurricane force. And so the breeziest conditions will occur along the upper South Carolina coast today into this afternoon. Okay, then we go into this evening, and actually the RPM model here has the center of Arthur pretty much just south of Wilmington, right along the coast there. Carolina Beach, Wrightsville Beach area. And again, if that's correct, you're looking at hurricane force, maybe sustained winds, and at least gusts for much of the southern half of the North Carolina coast at that point in time. And you're looking at a significant onshore flow here, feeding right into the Outer Banks. And so that's when you're going to really begin to crank up the Atlantic side flooding for the Outer Banks, and some flooding on the sound coast there of the mainland. And then we go further in time tonight. There goes the center of Arthur. Again, on this model, it actually tracks up right over the Sound. The bottom line is that all night tonight is going to be a pretty rough night for eastern North Carolina, especially the Outer Banks. You're going to be looking at winds for a good chunk of the night, gusting over hurricane force and maybe sustained over hurricane force before things really improve. This is 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. Arthur heading further up the coast and out to sea, and things will improve rapidly tomorrow morning. So this is the deal that, as Arthur begins to lift further to the north, the wind direction will switch around out of the northwest, and so that's when you're really going to begin to pick up the potential for some sound side flooding along the Outer Banks. So undoubtedly, there's going to be some flooding issues along Highway 12. That highway floods so easily anyway, and this is a scenario where the hurricane is tracking in such a fashion that I would be surprised if we didn't have some pretty decent flooding issues for Highway 12. All right, so let's look at the rain impacts. This is what the RPM is printing out. Almost 6 inches of rain in Wilmington, over 3 inches in Cape Hatteras, and I think anywhere across the foothills and the Piedmont today, at any point in time, we're fair game to pick up a shower or a storm. But then behind all this, let me give you the good news. Behind all this, tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday, it looks gorgeous. We've been steeped in these high dew point temperatures, very, very muggy stuff, but look what happens here. This is tomorrow. Look at that drier air moving in, and it just takes over as we get into Saturday, even all the way down to Georgia and South Carolina, some 50s for dew points. We might even see some North Carolina spots by Saturday afternoon dipping below 50 for dew point temperatures. That's pretty rare in the month of July. So we've gone from about as muggy as we can get over the past couple of days to really about as dry as it can get in the month of July as we get over the holiday weekend, and that'll mean some great holiday weekend weather. All right, that is it for today's edition of the video. Thank you so much for watching. Everybody have a great day along the coast. Stay safe, and God bless.